Welcome to Out of Touchstone. On the last episode, we looked at Kazam, Touchstone's attempt to turn Shaquille O'Neal into a movie star. By the end of July, audiences had returned the genie back to his boombox, leaving Touchstone without the summer blockbuster they were hoping for. After spending the summer not having their wishes fulfilled, Touchstone decided to try something much simpler: kidnapping. To get things back on track, Touchstone turned to a familiar face. Ron Howard had directed Splash, the very first Touchstone release back in 1984. 12 years later, he was no longer Opie Cunningham. He was one of Hollywood's most reliable directors who was coming off an Academy Award nomination for Best Director for Apollo 13. Howard would direct a screenplay by Richard Price, another Touchstone veteran, who had previously written The Color of Money and Life Lessons, the Nick Nolte segment from New York Stories. Reworking a kidnapping story first presented on television in 1953 and later adapted into a feature film in 1956, Touchstone Pictures was counting on audiences to show up and help raise money for Ransom.
I have your son. Give me $2 million.
Your only priority is getting your boy back.
They came after him for a ransom, and he went after them with a vengeance.
If I don't get my son back, I'm going to dedicate my life to tracking you down.
Mel Gibson, a film by Ron Howard.
Everybody, hold your fire! You kill him, you kill yourself! Give me back my son!
Ransom, rated R, starts Friday, November 8th.
Leading the cast of Ransom is Mel Gibson. Gibson was a bona fide double threat as actor and director and had just won an Oscar for Best Director for Braveheart, beating Ron Howard. Playing his wife is Rene Russo, reuniting with Gibson after their pairing in Lethal Weapon 3. Gibson and Russo carry the emotional weight of the film as parents desperately trying to get their son back. Supporting them is Delroy Lindo as the FBI agent helping to navigate an increasingly impossible situation while helping bring the child home. And playing the kidnapped son is Brawley Nolte, son of actor Nick Nolte. On the opposite side of the law is a real murderer's row of up-and-coming 1990s talent. Leading the charge is Gary Sinise, following up his star-making turns in Forrest Gump and Apollo 13. Joining him is indie film favorite Lily Taylor, future Scream breakout star Liev Schreiber, future Sex and the City regular Evan Handler, and rounding out the kidnappers with the right stuff, Donnie Wahlberg. Ransom opened on November 8, 1996, debuting at number 1 and earning more than the rest of the top 10 films combined. Not just the new releases, the entire top 10. The film would remain in the top 10 for 6 consecutive weeks before finally dropping to number 12 during the weekend of December 20th. Apparently, unless the kid is left home alone, a movie about a kidnapped child isn't the holiday entertainment audiences are looking for. By the end of its run, Ransom had become the 5th highest grossing film released in 1996. Finally, Touchstone had a genuine hit. While the film was a financial success, it was also a hit with critics. Interestingly, critics liked Ransom more than audiences did. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 73% score with critics, while audiences rated a bit lower at 63%. Roger Ebert awarded the film 3 stars and called it a smarter-than-usual kidnapping thriller, while noting that the screenplay could have benefited from a tighter rewrite. I saw Ransom in the theater when it was released and hadn't seen it since. What surprised me most was realizing the scene I remembered as the climax actually occurs halfway through the film. This is definitely a thriller from an era when films were willing to take their time. At 121 minutes, Ransom feels every bit of its 2-hour runtime. There isn't much mystery regarding who committed the crime. Kidnappers are established early, and the audience spends most of the film watching the fallout. The suspense comes from Mel Gibson's actions and whether his unconventional plan to challenge the kidnappers will ultimately pay off. As stated earlier, the cast is excellent, and every actor understands their role and plays to their strengths. For me, however, the pacing is a bit too sluggish. That doesn't mean I wouldn't recommend the movie, but for the Out of Touchstone rating, I'm just going to have to give it a leave it on. And I'm working on better ratings for next year. That's going to do it for this episode of Out of Touchstone. While Touchstone finally has a hit in 1996, their next release would come just 2 weeks later and only arrive on 4 screens nationwide. Until then, Tapes are rewound, video stores closed. We're out of Touchstone.